Mental health concepts have had a turbulent relationship with popular media for as long as it's been portrayed in literature and on screens, big and small. From being portrayed as monstrous to being over-sensationalized and blown out of proportion, these concepts haven't gotten a good rap. One of the most poorly portrayed of these concepts is the sensitive issue of self-harm. And today, I want to put a spotlight on the media that glamorizes this sensitive topic. Not just those that do this topic disrespect, but those that actually do it justice. So, full disclaimer, due to the sensitive nature of this topic, I will warn you from now onwards that the subject matter will start to get more specific and darker. So, if you're sensitive to this type of content, I encourage you to click out of this video for now. If we separate the term glamorization, it can be defined as to make something glamorous. So, in short, it's the idea of making a concept beautiful or more beautiful than necessarily viewed. Thus, combining both terms together, glamorization of self-harm, which I don't think needs an explanation, can be described as making the concept of self-harm into a beautiful topic to show, even to the point of romanticizing the idea of it. The past hasn't been kind to mental health, as back in the day, it was severely stigmatized and the healthcare system for mental health was severely, limiting at best and a joke at worst. In the days before, people were made fun of or criticized for being weak if they were to even openly speak about their mental health problems. But compared to before, now it is much safer to speak about your mental health problems, and it's even promoted to do so at schools and offices, as they all have days to speak to their workers and attendants to let out all of their problems and for the sake of mental health. But even then, in more conservative areas such as the Philippines, the stigma still persists to this day, in spite of the improvements in the mental health system over time. So for this next portion, I'm going to be discussing examples of how this has been glamorized and respectfully portrayed in the media. So I want to emphasize the trigger warning I gave at the very beginning of the video once again, as I'll be discussing the topic in a much more detailed manner now. So if you're sensitive to these types of discussions, I encourage you to avoid this part of the video for health's sake. Hashtag cut for Zayn. In a way, one could consider itself as a movement started in Twitter in reaction to Zayn's decision to leave One Direction. To say the least, the shock and horror to both Directioners and enjoyers of 1D's music alike can be considered as understandable, to say the least. However, Zayn's departure led to a harmful trend wherein teenage Twitter users, mostly those who were Zayn's fans specifically, started cutting themselves and sending photos of their bleeding wounds to the platform. Heartbroken Directioners not only showcased graphic photos of their cuts, they encouraged others online to do the same, seeing their cuts as a painfully beautiful proclamation of their admiration for him. At the time, they believed it to be a solution to bring Zayn Malik back to One Direction. Whether the trend started as a way to bring Zayn back, or to show how devotedly they love One Direction and their members, the main similarity lies in how it's done to show their immense sorrow over the situation, even to the point it became a way to cope regardless of how harmful it was to themselves. The trend became so widespread that another trend came up in Twitter to counteract as a means to encourage Directioners to use less harmful means to show support and sorrow towards Zayn leaving. The Twitter trend was called hashtag Stay Clean for Zayn. Some examples they had done include cutting cakes and bread, making themselves a sandwich, etc. 13 Reasons Why. The controversial show gained both widespread popularity and criticism for its story and depiction of suicide and graphic scene of self-harm near the season finale. In the show, the main character, Hannah Baker, commits suicide, framed in the form of revenge against her classmates who wronged her in a masterminded plot involving 13 pre-recorded tapes made by her. 13 Reasons Why has already been shit on many times before, So there's not much for me to add to that other than that its portrayal is a complete misrepresentation of suicide. The intentions one normally has and the graphic showing of the suicide through self-harm were gratuitous and served more as a means of shock value for the plot rather than acting as a means to show healthy ways of coping or avoiding such an event in the first place. There is little representation or mention of mental illness in the first season, even though 46% of people who die by suicide have a diagnosed mental illness. Ultimately, the entire show used these sensitive realities as a simple means to gain popularity through shock value rather than educate or act as a commentary on them respectfully for the viewer. There are distinct bad ones, but it has been respectfully tackled as a subject before, and I want to highlight media that has done that. Black Swan, a 2010 psychological horror film directed by Darryl Aronofsky and starring Natalie Portman. The film follows the ballet dancer Nina Sayers as mounting pressures, stresses, and mental issues culminate in a terrifyingly authentic, if stylized and extreme, portrayal of severe mental illness and the harm she would inflict upon herself. Several elements of different mental illnesses are evident in the film, as exhibited by the main character, such as elements of anxiety disorder, obsessive-compulsive behavior, psychotic breaks, possible psychosis, and even personality disorders. These are all unlikely to be all found in a single person, as portrayed in the film, but it still does a great job in portraying the struggles of those psychological issues and how they would affect a person experiencing them in real time. The 2014 animated series, Bojack Horseman, follows Bojack as he struggles with depression, addiction, and a deteriorating acting career. The show is popular for taking on a satirical and achingly honest view on mental health. Bojack Horseman's portrayal of these mental illnesses and self-destructive behavior have been applauded for their realism and compassion for the topic. Oftentimes, Bojack would find himself committing non-suicidal self-injury and impacting the relationships he's made as a result. Throughout the 6-season run, the beloved characters of the show went through their own bouts of mental illness without glamorizing it and simply just lived through it just like anyone would. The show did not offer any concrete solution or cure, but rather explored the causes of these afflictions to offer solace and comfort to the viewers by showing them that they're not alone. Even by the final season, Bojack was never completely healed from his struggles, but continued on his journey of growth. Portrayals of sensitive issues like self-harm in media aren't new, as media has always been a beautiful way of allowing audiences to experience the different struggles that we humans go through every day without directly being affected by those issues themselves. When these issues are glamorized as a plot device or something positive, however, that's when misinformation starts to spread on how people going through these struggles feel and how they can healthily cope with them. This doesn't mean that we should avoid watching any forms of media that explore these sensitive topics by any means, but rather it's that we should call out when the media spreads a dangerous portrayal of these issues and place a spotlight on those types of media that do these topics justice. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel and comment any topic you'd like for us to tackle next. We really appreciate any form of feedback you guys have. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great day ahead.